Hey everybody out there. Just gonna make a video, well, like the title explains. It's the fault of the judiciary, the legislative, and the executive. The branches of them. We can blame them for the current problems that are going on. And I know everybody wants to blame the current administration, but the current administration's only taking advantage of the authoritarian powers and everything else that are at their disposal. We've been in a kind of a slow dive for how citizens' rights have been going for at least about 40 years or so. We have a huge problem that right now we use the judiciary branch to do things that the legislative branch should be doing. We keep bringing things to the Supreme Court for them to do something instead of the legislative actually doing their job. So we have lazy senators and lazy people in Congress, and that's a huge problem that we have. When our courts are turning more political and not doing what they're supposed to be doing, it affects us all and it hurts us all. We also have, since the 2013-ish time frame, we have the militarization of the police. I know personally I first started seeing the militarization of the police when I first moved to Fort Collins, Colorado, back in '06, when I was pulled over by a police officer. He walked up to my vehicle with his hand on his gun and wearing full body armor. And I laughed at him because I'd just gotten out of the army and been back from Iraq. And so I thought, what the hell? If you've ever been to Fort Collins, you would understand why it was laughable, but it's only gotten worse since then, so it keeps on compounding on itself, and it got worse in about 2012, 2013, with more militarization of them. We also have, well, like I said, the courts doing their job to not do, well, anything or kick the can down the road or really making themselves to be more political. And the legislative branch not making it so that they're less political. There are also issues with the fact that the president can start wars and keep it going. Well, people don't have a say. It's supposed to be, the Congress and the Senate, we're supposed to put a kibosh on that and not let it go through, but we just kind of say, all right, that's fine. We're going to keep increasing that. I mean, unending the ridiculous budgets that we use instead of letting the people know, hey, what's going on, where it's going. You probably have heard by now that the Pentagon has decided to take, I think it was $1 billion, and give that to private contractors so that they could use it for jet engines and the like, instead of the COVID stuff where it was supposed to go. So yeah, it's a huge problem, and it's a downward spiral. And if we're really not careful, and I mean this, we will get somebody to replace the current administration down the years down the road, if not this time, that is intelligent and does know how to speak to people and is very affluential and can use all of the powers that are going on to possibly really install some authoritarian stuff. I mean, we have citizens getting spied upon. If you look at some of the news organizations when they're talking about what happens to people in New York, how they're being spied upon, or in Portland, in Seattle, in Chicago, all over, where the police are using military equipment to spy on cell phones and all the other stuff. I've made a video about this before. If people didn't think this was going to happen, then you're just lying to yourself. There's also the fact that the government can now legally use propaganda. I made a video on that as well, that the U.S. can use propaganda on its own citizens. It's very specific on how it can use it, but they can create it through a different department to then use it for those departments that can use the propaganda. So, again, all it's going to take is somebody that actually knows how to use the tools that are already up there. Thankfully, the person that we have in office right now isn't intelligent enough. And I know that people keep saying, oh, he'd be an authoritarian. No, he's not intelligent enough for it. You can tell by the way he speaks and his actions and his mannerisms. The majority of people, you can tell a lot of their IQ, for the most part, with vocabulary, depending on the different phrases that they use, how they use their sentence structure, how they speak, their speech patterns. So yeah, it's not a blanket statement, but the majority of the time, it's a pretty good indicator. And the current administration is far from it, which we should all be very thankful that he is far from it. Now, it would have been much better if we would have had someone that actually cared for the people. But hey, there's very few people that are in the Senate or in the House that actually do care for the people. And this is just, some of the overbearing problems that we have with the legislative, the judicial, and the executive branch. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, those are the three forms of government we have. And if that went way over your head, then you should really do a little bit more civics class from somewhere. Maybe from an online course or YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or something, or an actual civics book to teach you a little bit about it. How they're supposed to work, how bills become laws. There used to be a School of Rock that used to teach about that for children. I don't know if they're still doing it. But this is just a warning to all of us. It should be a huge wake-up call what this current administration is able to get away with and how it works. I know that the administration has said that they won't concede for the elections or whatever. There's not enough backing for it. I really don't see the military saying, oh yeah, we're going to back you for a coup, or the rest of the government saying, yeah, we're going to back you for a coup. No. But maybe one or two presidents down the line, there might be somebody. Because it's vying for it. And it's being set up that way. You can almost see it as a down the rabbit hole a little bit, set up from the Bush administration to the Obama administration to it was supposed to be, according to a lot of people, the Clinton administration, where they have all these more authoritarian powers being put into place so that maybe they could. Our First Amendments are being eroded. They're doing their best to amend the Second, and as we know, the 13th Amendment, pretty much, if you go to prison, you can become a slave. They don't like to call it that, but that's what it is. When you lose your rights, you become property. You're, the way that they treat you. Yeah, so this is, again, me using my voice. Remember to use yours. Just be more active. Pay more attention. Don't just blatantly gloss your eyes over and not see some of the writing that's on the wall for all of us. Do your best to pay attention and to speak out when you can. But yeah, again, like I said, it's me using my voice. How do you use yours? Much love to everybody, and don't be a mushroom. You guys take care. Bye.